we will probably reduce the gas consumption for warm water, I would say, by around 70%.
Wow. If you're using shading like this, automated shading,
Yeah.
you're actually saving up to 50% in cooling energy.
If you only would like to do the energy management part, a Mini-Servo Go would be enough.
Hello and welcome. Today we are in Bavaria to talk about a special topic, which is energy. The world is in an energy crisis. Around the globe, prices are literally exploding. So we're meeting up with Andi Hetzendorfer. Andi Hetzendorfer is our Chief Product Officer.
Hi.
He's responsible for all the Loxone technology. He's been working on energy solutions for many years now, and especially intensely in the last couple of months. So he will show us around and give us a little bit of an insight into his project. So Andi, what are the things we are looking at today?
So we're at my house. Our house was built 4 years ago. So 4 years ago, or in the last 4 years, times have changed a bit. So 4 years ago, we decided for a gas heating. So basically not the best solution nowadays. But we got a PV system, solar system on our roof a year ago. And this combining with heating warm water and electrical charging, things like that, I think we got a good package. We should look at 3 topics today, which is heating, which is shading, and of course energy management.
Sounds good. Where do we have the biggest potential for energy savings?
Probably in the heating.
Okay, so let's take a look at it now.
Okay.
We're in the utility room now. I can see a floor heating system, I can see a battery, I can see a PV system. There's also a water puffer.
There's a heating.
There's a heating, of course. There's a gas heating, unfortunately. Let's take a look at it. What do you do to reduce the energy of those different appliances?
So since the beginning, of course, there's a lot of Loxone in this building. We have radiant floor heating with room control or zone control. So we only heat rooms when they are needed. So like in Corona times, when there was a lot of home office things like that, we changed the behavior and we heated the office in our house every day. Nowadays we changed it back, and so we only have warm temperature like in the morning in the bathroom and in the kitchen. Then we leave for work, so we cool down the house, and when we come back in the evening, we have warm temperature in the kitchen and in the dining area, in the bathroom, and of course at night in the bedroom. So this obviously reduces heating costs a lot, because we don't heat unneeded spaces, what you normally do. And this is already a lot of savings. The gas heater is 100% Mini-Servo controlled, so this gas heater only produces warm energy when the Mini-Servo tells him that there is a need of warm heating water or warm water somewhere in the building. This year we got a warm water heater, this guy here. So since we got this, we didn't use any gas so far. So we got this in May, and till today, we are on 1st of September today, we didn't use any gas anymore. And I think we will probably reduce the gas consumption for warm water, I would say, by around 70%.
Wow.
With that little guy.
Do you also have an indication on how much energy you're using a day currently?
I do have an indication of per square meter. So like we did use the last 12 months around 14,500 kilowatt hours. Like our neighbors who have basically a house in the same size.
Same size?
Yeah. They did use 20,000 kilowatt hours.
Okay.
So there's a difference of a quarter. Which we already reduced based on an intelligent Loxone system, where we have the floor heating and the control, and which doesn't already, not include that much savings from the warm water, because we already have it since May.
Just for reference, because we also looked at the house, same size,
Yeah.
same building year approximately, I think.
They built a year ahead.
And it's even the same two adults living
Yeah,
there, both having going to work full time.
Yeah.
So very similar living patterns. 20% less, 25% less energy.
Yes.
So very impressive.
Yeah, and we, you know, you already looked at the numbers, which are
Yeah.
the benchmark in Germany.
Yeah.
Like we have a benchmark per square meter in Germany for heating and warm water. When you have a gas heater, where you have 140 kilowatt hours a square meter a year, we do have 59.
Yeah, that's
58% less.
It's an incredible achievement, and nowadays, also due to the rising energy costs, it's also a big impact money-wise. I mean, we've been looking at your contract. I think you've been paying around 1,500 euro.
It was 1,000 last year,
Yeah,
and
okay.
the latest calculation for if we would have a new contract today would be 4,500.
Okay, yeah.
Another thing which can save you a lot of money is a ventilation system. Of course, we do use it when we're home because we love to get fresh air in our house.
Yep.
Without opening a window. But you need to bring it down to almost zero when you leave the house, because it's constantly bringing warm air out of the building and bringing cold air in. So you need to bring it down. So when we leave the house, it goes almost to zero, just a little ventilation to make sure there's no dust problem in the house. So this is also 100% mini-servo controlled and integrated in our ventilation function block.
I mean, we've been talking about heating, but there's also days where it's like, I don't know, 32 degrees Celsius outside. Is there any way also that you can cool down the rooms and preserve that energy when we are having a hot day?
Yeah, of course. So when it's hot outside, we force the ventilation system at night to go to 100% to bring as much cold air in the building as possible. And of course, yeah, it takes more power then, but combined to an AC unit, it's also very, very effective and saves a lot of money on that.
Cool. So in your case, we're looking at a radiant floor heating system. If we're looking globally, there are a lot of other systems. Are there also solutions out there to work with, let's say, an HVAC system?
We do have our dampers instead of our radiant floor heater adapters. So in like states like the US, you just use the dampers and make your zone control using those guys.
So basically same principle.
Yeah.
Than the radiant floor heating, but also I think even a benefit because the forced air is reacting even faster.
Yeah, of course.
And therefore you can react more to things like presence, to things like different situations in different rooms.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have heating, we have ventilation. Let's take a look at your shading.
Yes, let's go.
We're now in the kitchen, taking a look at the shading. So today it's a hot sunny day outside, there's a lot of sunlight. How does the shading work in your case?
So like we have it in here, so there are three orientations. We have east, south and west. You see it's afternoon, so shading already went up on the east side. So south and west we are in automatic mode. So the shading is based on the sun direction. It closes and sets the shades, the blades in the direction of the sun. So we have south, of course, where we have shades, and also the west side in here.
Cool. So we are now keeping the hot sun out with this principle in the summertime.
Yeah.
In your case, you are getting an active cooling system in at the end of the summer, I think, so a little bit too late, but prepare for the future. I've looked at a couple of statistics. So if you're using shading like this, automated shading, you're actually saving up to 50% in cooling energy. which is obviously enormous in areas where a lot of AC control is being used. This principle also works in winter because you can let in the sunlight in winter to help heat up the room in addition to the heating, and once the temperature is reached you can again use the shading to not overheat it. And I've also looked at that, and statistics also say that we can save 30% on heating energy, so 50% cooling energy, cool. 30% heating energy. It's definitely the biggest potential next to heating. The second biggest potential is in shading.
Yeah, right. And you know, we have the study with the Austrian university, which compared our automated shading to just a standard house, and they found out that during a average summer, you can decrease your average room temperature by 7 degrees. Only with automated shading, which is insane.
So in a lot of cases you will not even need AC unit because of that. Andy, I think you've installed one of my favorite touch pure flexes. We're here in the garage, you're using it for energy management and a lot of other things. Can you explain it to us?
Of course, I charge my car here. And basically I only want to get the power from the roof into my car. So I never want to buy energy from the grid to charge my car. So I brought up 3 different types of charging. I have a PV only. I've got my PV system plus my battery. And I've got get the power from whatever it comes from. I need to get power in my car. And these 3 types I brought to the left side of the Touch Pure Flex. I have the status LED to show which charging mode is active, and when I press the button I can see on the display how much power actually goes into the car, like 1.4 kilowatt at the moment. I love this because I come home and I plug in the car, and actually on the way into the house I can decide whatever I want to have. But the standard is PV only.
I think it really shows the flexibility and the power of the Touch Pure Flex. So very unique setup. We've got a lot of questions on the Touch Pure Flex, if that is our new standard switch for controlling a home or a building. I would say no, because in the regular rooms, in most rooms, especially in a home, we are using the Touch or the Touch Pure. For music, for lighting, for shades. And if there's a room that has some special applications, like here in the garage where you have the car charger, or let's say in a sauna, or I don't know, somewhere in at the entrance area, you use the Touch Pure Flex. Let's go on and take a look at the PV system. So Andy, last year you installed a solar system and you're doing all the energy management with Loxone. Can you give us some insight on what you're controlling with it and how?
Yeah, of course. So a year ago we got the PV system on our roof. So it has around 18 kilowatt peak of power. We got the battery system with 13.5 kilowatt hours of capacity, and we are of course controlling warm water, the dishwasher, the washing machine, and our electrical car, where we have intelligent charging.
Is there any logic that you're using when it comes to distributing the energy?
Of course, I have different priorities, and based on the power I get from the roof or what I normally would put into the grid, I activate the different consumers. And of course, there is the next release where there will be a lot of new stuff in.
Of course. What brands are you using in there? I think it's a Solar Edge.
Yeah, it's a Solar Edge inverter and a Tesla Powerwall as a battery.
Okay. And is there anything, what do you need in order to, read the energy and intelligently distribute it in the home in your case? What additional components?
I mean, if you only would like to do the energy management part, it would be a mini servo Go, because all the different devices are controlled by Modbus TCP, so over Ethernet, so a mini servo Go would be enough.
Cool. So just a minute ago, nothing else.
Yeah, right. So like an investment of 370 euro,
Yeah.
which would probably be back in a couple of weeks.
So basically something you should utilize on every single PV installation.
Yeah, of course.
In our opinion.
Yeah.
You also have an electric car.
Yeah.
That you are charging with the PV system. As I said, it's a sunny day. How do you use the energy to charge the car? Is there any special logic here?
Yeah, as said, I put the power I get from the grid directly into the car. All the energy management is done in Loxone config, and the whole package itself, we were able to reduce our costs in energy by 90%. So
Okay.
like the last 12 months, we saved 90% of the power which we import from the grid.
Okay. There's you mean the how do you call it in English? Autarky?
Yeah, right. There's an autarky of 90%.
Autarky of 50%. And I think the installers calculated it at 70% or something.
72, right?
Yeah.
So we got almost a quarter more.
Okay.
Of autarky, which is insane because it's only so you spend like $25,000 in the PV system and the battery, and then you spend 370 euro to get that much of a benefit.
Very cool. So basically, it pays for itself.
Yeah.
Well,
in a
okay,
short time.
Perfect. Cool. So thank you, Andy, for the insight into the energy management. I think we're really looking forward to what is coming up in autumn this year. Lots of cool new features in the next Loxone config for energy management. Maybe even the one or the other product, we will see. To us, the whole topic of energy management is very important. I mean, we've been looking at it today from a cost perspective. So we can really heavily reduce the energy and therefore the cost in a home like this, but also in commercial buildings. In commercial setups probably even more, because there's not one person responsible for turning off the lights and so on. So you have a lot of people, nobody feels responsible. So in a commercial setup, you can probably even achieve more energy savings than in a residential home. But still, it's very impressive what had been achieved here in your home already. The other thing I would also like to point out is not only a saving in energy, but also a saving in the CO2 footprint.
Of course.
Because the energy we save, we look at heavily reducing the carbon footprint of your home as well. Usually when we're talking about climate change, we're mostly talking about electrification of cars, and we're talking about PV systems, but as a matter of fact, 40% of the CO2 that goes into the air comes from buildings. So I think with building automation, we really have a big impact, not only on the cost side, but also on the carbon footprint side, and we can help to keep the planet as it is. So thank you, Andy, and
Thank you.
see you next time. Thank you.
Bye bye.